It's Tuesday, the 22nd of March, 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
All right, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Story number 1, Sean, the federal government wants to make investing in cryptocurrencies safer, and they're going to boost regulation around the sector. What's this all mean?
Well, already 800,000 Australians have invested in cryptocurrencies and the government has accepted it's here to stay, or more accurately, the technology behind cryptos, blockchain technology, is here to stay. Now, in essence, that's a system of recording information in a way that makes it very difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. That's why it's so interesting. Given the weight of money going into cryptos, from individual investors through to massive superannuation funds, the government has little option but to get involved. It wants to establish a licensing framework around secondary service providers, around things like the exchanges and brokers and custodian services. It won't stop people losing money if their cryptos go south, but it should help investors decide how to invest in cryptos and hold their digital currency and digital wallets. It's part of a bigger look at digital assets. The government's talking about a new Digital Services Act, which would protect consumers, but also enable the development of opportunities from blockchain technology. This very much is the future. The theory is that because it's so secure, blockchain technology opens up the playing field to content creators well beyond the big tech companies.
All right, big step forward. All right, story number 2, Sean. This is pretty extraordinary. Evidence in the inquiry into the Star Entertainment Group was cut short yesterday, but not before it was told that the group's Sydney casino gave a known high roller who's being investigated by the tax office a $5 million credit in exchange for a blank cheque.
Quite incredible, Michael. The inquiry also heard that Star allowed that same high roller to pay back debts via China Union Pay debit cards, which can allegedly be used to circumvent anti-money laundering controls in China. Now, the inquiry is looking into whether the Star is fit to hold a casino licence. Apparently, this high roller had been offered the $5 million loan with a 30-day payback period in exchange for a blank cheque. His evidence was cut short, though, after the Star's barrister said translation issues meant some evidence was unclear. The inquiry is continuing.
Now, Sean, story number 3, I know you love a good statistic, and the Bureau of Statistics have released some absolute crackers, and they're actually not statistics that make us feel very good about ourselves, because shows that almost 4 in 5 Australians have a long-term health condition, and I find this staggering, about 50% have a chronic condition.
Yes, pretty startling, really. It was a release of the first National Health Survey from 2020-2021, right in the middle of COVID. The 3 major chronic problems were mental and behavioural conditions at number 1, back problems, and then arthritis. So they had all sorts of bits and pieces in it. More than 1 in 5 18 to 24-year-olds have tried e-cigarettes or vaping, but 83% haven't smoked tobacco. In fact, more than 60% of people aged over 18 have never smoked. Quite incredible. Only 11% of people are regular smokers, and it still causes more than 20,000 deaths a year. Now, 1 in 4 adults over the age of 18 years exceeds alcohol consumption guidelines, with men more likely to do so than women. And finally, while 57% of Australians rate their health as excellent or very good, only 27%, about half that, met the physical activity guidelines.
All right, story number 4, Sean. Last year, there was a lot of talk about the Chinese property developer Evergrande Group. It was always a bit of a threat kind of hanging over everyone that this company was going to go under. Yesterday, Evergrande Group suspended trading. What's going on?
Well, it surprised investors, and as you mentioned, last year there was all sorts of concerns about it. It has $300 billion in liabilities. It's got millions of half-built homes. It came back from the brink then and is supposed to be restructuring. It really matters because China, like Australia, is very property-based. The Chinese economy and wealth relies on a strong property sector. So if one of the biggest developers goes under, it won't be good for the Chinese economy, and that won't be good for the Australian economy.
No, certainly not. All right, story number 5. We've saved an absolute ripper for last this morning, Sean. Saudi Arabia's state oil company made a rather handy profit last year. How much was it again?
$130 billion, thanks to booming oil prices and demand. Incredible. It's about $17 million an hour for the oil giant Aramco. It's the world's largest oil exporter, and the Saudi government owns about 94% of it. A chunk of the money that the Saudi government now has will be used to invest in industries away from fossil fuels as part of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salam's plan to restructure the economy by 2030. But when you're making that much money off oil, it's very hard to leave behind.
Yeah, I can only imagine. All right, that's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 22nd of March, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, then you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform, as well as a few interviews and other bits and pieces. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.